Hi guys, it's April. It is a known fact at this point that I like to read. I like to read anything from really short, easy, quick books to long, lengthy, in-depth novels. Something that you can just immerse yourself in and get lost in for months at a time. So I want to do a few recommendations on books that you can get really lost in because they are just long as all get out. This was inspired by the monthly recommendation topic for this month, which is long books or big books. So books that are over 500 pages long. And guys, I got a pile. A big pile. Doesn't help that the books are already big, and then I just kept on pulling them on my shelves, and it was a thing that happened. I will leave all the information down below so you can check out the group in case you want more recommendations or if you want to add in your 2 cents. Because I'm always looking for more books to read and I would love to hear what your thoughts are. So go check that out and I will start in on my recommendations. This first one was a no-brainer for me. This one right here, Daughter of the Forest by Juliette Merlier. I just finished yet another reread of this book. I absolutely adore it. It is a big book, but it's a small format, which is probably why it's so thick in this edition. This is the story of Sorsha as she tries to save her brothers from a curse. It is based on the Wild Swan story, but it is a very adult book that just builds off of the premise of that story and then pulls in all kinds of folklore and history, and it's great. The writing is absolutely beautiful and whimsical, and it's one of those books that I'm slowly getting people addicted to. This is my mission. This is the whole reason I started BookTube. Maybe not just this book alone, but it was one of the books that The next book I need to tout to the world is The Circle by Dave Eggers. This book is becoming a movie quite soon with Emma Watson as the lead. This is the story of May as she joins The Circle, which is a technology company that is kind of like Google. I don't want to say that it's based off of Google, but there are a lot of Google-ish things that go on in this story. There's a lot of social media aspects, a lot of Internet of Things aspects going on, and where all of this could be leading us to and what kind of choices we may have to make in the future. It is a wonderful read if you like to immerse yourself into technology and the thought of where that is affecting us as a people and as a culture and as a community, what all of that means. And I can't wait to see what they do with the movie. I'm excited. This recommendation list would not be complete if I didn't bring up Brandon Sanderson at least once, maybe twice, because Brandon Sanderson is very good at writing fantasy, at least in my opinion. He is one of my favorites. So the first one I want to talk about is The Way of Kings, which is part of the Stormlight Archives. This is actually one book, but I have it in 2 parts because it is massive. Each of these are over 600 pages long, but the universe that Brandon Sanderson builds in this story is breathtaking and captivating. It is a story of Kaladin, who is a slave man who is forced into an army. It is a magical system that deals with shard blades and shard plates. Right now there isn't a whole lot in the series, but I am waiting in anticipation for more of this story. I think the most captivating thing about this universe he's built here is they have an environment where almost everything is alive. Trees are alive, rocks are almost alive. It is all alive and they act way different than our environment does. And there are little sections in here where there is some journeying into a land almost like ours, and to see their perspective of what they're used to and then stepping into an environment that is closely related to ours is so weird to see. I like this series. I want to see where all of it goes. There's some mythologies and things that are pulled into this universe that are absolutely captivating. And I want to see where Shallan's story takes her because there is some weird things going on. And of course, since I started bringing up Brandon Sanderson and I brought up The Way of Kings, I had to bring up The Final Empire. There is no way I couldn't bring up the Mistborn series. This is something that has been going around BookTube for a while and I back it 100%. I I love. I enjoy this series completely. Vin as a character I grasp onto, and the magical system with ingesting a metal and gaining an ability because of that metal is intriguing in so many ways. I want to be a Mistborn. I want a Mistborn cape. I wish I could jump off of tall buildings and do all kinds of weird things. Sadly, I can't. And all of that to say that this is a very enjoyable read. Vin as a very strong female character, and I like her for it. She starts out as a pickpocket on the street, which is a theme of a lot of books that I pick up that I seem to enjoy. But she grows and she develops and she becomes part of this greater whole. And there's just so much depth in this universe. Like I said, Brandon Sanderson is very good at building out universes, in my opinion. Then there is Tamora Pierce with her Becca Cooper series, starting with Terrier. This has become one of my favorite series by Tamora Pierce. I love her Alana series. I love her Wild Magic series. I love everything in the Total universe. But I picked up this series and I just grasped onto it. This is a story of Becca Cooper as she becomes one of the dogs, which is the guards of the capital city of Tortal. Becca Cooper is actually the precursor to the whole Alana series, so you can see bits and pieces of what is to come in the future and how that timeline got set up. Becca Cooper is a very strong female character like all of the others in Tamora Pierce's books, which is why I love them so much. And just the inner strength that she seems to have, I really like. I had to mention the Diviner series by Loba Bray because it is a fun read. So it's set in the 1920s when a lot of the fascination with psychics and ghost stories started to really take hold. This book plays off of all of that and people who might have these kind of abilities. It is centered around Evie, who's a very free-spirited young woman. She might have some dark secrets of her own, but she ends up in New York and she is going to make the most of it and just become her own woman no matter what anybody says. She's a very headstrong individual, and through the process of everything she starts to meet people who are a little bit like her, and it is fun. I like it. There's also a little bit of a murder mystery, so it's got a little bit of that Agatha Christie vibe along with all the psychics and ghosts and everything else, which is probably why I love it so much. Probably. I also wanted to mention East by Edith Pateau. This is one of my favorite East of the Sun, West of the Moon retelling. As soon as I hear something is either based off of Beauty and the Beast, East of the Sun, West of the Moon, or Eros and Psyche, I have to try, I have to read it. It has to be something that is in my hands and I have to consume it. This is one of my all-time favorite. To me, this is one of the ones that have done it really, really well. It's been a while since I've read it, so I'm probably due for a reread. That might have to be a thing. But Rose is the youngest of several children, and then this white bear comes to the house and asks her to stay with him for an extended period of time, and she says yes, and the story takes off as it normally would for an East of the Sun, West of the Moon retelling. What I like about this is just the character depth and the character development that happens. I like that slow burn and getting to know the characters and starting to feel a part of the story, and I think this book does it the best, in my opinion, of what I have read of these kind of retellings. Illuminae by Amie Kaufman and Kristoff. It was gonna happen. There was no way that I couldn't do a chunky book recommendation list without mentioning this book. This is a very fun read. This is set in the future where a colony has been decimated and people are on the run for some very odd reason that the survivors are trying to figure out. It takes a lot of the sci-fi tropes and it mushes them all in here together, and it's in a very interesting format. You've got text messages, you've got video surveillance, you've got images, you've got list of names. No two pages are alike, which is great. There's something about putting it into a format like this but still being able to get the whole story. You almost feel like you're investigating what's going on, and the fact that it does feel like the authors know their sci-fi. I love it, and I truly, truly enjoyed it, and I can't wait to see where this series goes because I believe there's another one to release sometime this year. I'm gonna be all over that. You better believe it. And finally, I'd have some very disappointed people in me if I did not recommend this book, because they probably think I was sick or something because I haven't mentioned it yet. None of my recommendation lists are ever completed until I mention Wool by Hugh Howey, or any of Hugh Howey's books whatsoever. Who would I be if I did not pull this off my shelf and put it in front of your faces yet again? I'm trying to get my point across. I figure if I mention it enough times, I will finally convert at least one person into actually reading the story and then fangirling with me. It's just my life goal right there, guys. This is a dystopian, futuristic story that is absolutely amazing in my opinion, but that's something that everybody knows at this point. It is set in a future where people are living underground in silos. Something has happened on the surface of the earth, making it uninhabitable. That is why everyone is now underground. Now there is a punishment that if you do something wrong, you are sent out for a cleaning because the sensors get dirty. This story starts out with one such cleaning, and then you start to learn there might be some other things going on inside the silo, because if you put too many people in a confined space, odd things are bound to happen. It's just a thing. You're not going to avoid that, ever, because people are people. So those are my big book recommendations. I could go on, but I decided to limit myself to, I don't know how many books that was, but all of those books. I hope I've inspired at least one of you to read any of those books. Any of them is fine. I want to spread the joy. Let me spread the joy, dang it. Ha! But anyways, tell me down below what the longest book that you have ever read is, and I heart your beautiful faces. Bye.